All right, y'all. So I am going to do a wig revive review today. Okay, I know my camera's like super crazy and looking all over the place. Yeah, this is what I call my old faithful slap it on when I get ready type wig, and as you can see, it is all the way up. It's just crazy all over the place. So today I am going to revive my wig. This is probably going to be filmed in like 2 parts because of what I'm going to do to it. I'm going to show you how to take your old wig out of the closet or out of the bag somewhere and get that thing revived and have it rejuvenated and looking real good. All right, watch this. All right, so this is gonna go kind of sort of fast, but here, of course, you want to put your gloves on so that the bleach will not get into your skin or your hands or anything like that. I'm using the Kaleidoscope, or I'm sorry, Kaleidocolors blue powder, and I put 2 scoops in there because I knew I wanted to do more than just the ends. And then I'm going to go in and unfortunately this is going to be kind of dry to watch, but I put about 4 scoops in here initially, and I had to go back and add more. This powder is really like thick, should I say. You want your consistency, of course, to be thick, but you do not want it to be like too thick to where it's not going to come out. So it's difficult to blend at times. Like I had to go in, as you can see right here, with the spatula, and those, that 2-to-1 ratio that they give you to do is not always the best. I mean, that's just, it depends on your developer, it depends on you. It's a lot of different things. So I had to go back in, like that was super thick and there were lots of little powder balls in there. I ended up having to go and get a spatula. Not a spatula, that's the spatula that I'm using. I had to end up and go get a wire whisk, a small wire whisk, to be able to get some of those little balls out of there. But once I got it to the consistency that I needed, and it still wasn't enough. Like I had to go back and add, and this hair is very thick, so you want to make sure that you have enough to cover because it does lift very fast, like super fast. So now I'm bringing out the wig. I'm going to separate the parts because I know how I want to do it. Yeah, it's real raggedy. Okay, it's real raggedy. Look at the inside where I dyed it before and the closure and all that. Wonderful thing is you don't have to see that when you're wearing curly hair. So that's a really good thing. So I separate it, and then I'm going to take it and brush it out, the pieces that I want to make sure that I get all the way through the hair itself. Okay. So right here, you're about to see me brush it out because sometimes that bleach does not get all the way through if it's not brushed out and it's not combed out and spread the way that it needs to be. So I take the paddle brush, I brush it all the way out because I want to go a little further up. Okay. And don't worry, the hair could be dirty and messed up. You don't have to wash it and all that stuff before you bleach it, of course, and before you start trying to get it together, because all that's going to come together after you lift it or after you add the color to it. So here I'm still brushing it out because it's curly hair, and it's like, when I say it's super thick, it's very thick. It's just big and it's thick, and you just want to make sure that you get in there as much as you can. You're not going to be doing like fine lines or streaking or highlights, like you would do if you had a plastic highlight cap on your head. So I had to brush through this quite a bit, as you can see. And some of the ends at the very end, since this is going to be the second time, they ended up turning a little bit lighter, like a blonde color almost. And so it actually does come out very pretty. But I go ahead and I add that on there. I wanted to start more so in the middle to hit that first, because it took me probably maybe 10 minutes or so to finish up with this, to get it in good. And while it's on there within those 10 minutes, it's lifting. So I used a 40 developer. instead of a very, you know, small, like a 10 or a 20. I used a 40 because I did kind of want it a little bit lighter. And so here I'm just going through, and I separate it into 2 parts to make sure that I get all that's on the ends here. And I just get it out flat, make sure all the hair that I want is covered. Again, you don't want to have like a straight line across it. Like at the very top, you don't want to have a straight line. You want to make sure that you just kind of take the spatula and kind of turn it a different way, or massage it in and let it hit where it hits. And it just gives it a much more prettier, you know, look to it. So I do the other side, and this is like the front. No, this is the back of the wig, actually. This is the very back of the wig. And I did that first. And I ended up folding it up inside of the aluminum foil afterwards. But I made sure that it was completely saturated with that bleach or the lifter to be able to make sure it's, you know, gonna change the colors. I did let it sit, I think, about 10 minutes. And it actually did not turn into, like, I wanted more of the inside, almost all of the hair, but not too much of it, if that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, I start getting the other part ready, and I take 2 more tracks, like, from there. I'm gonna brush those out, because you want to, like I said, you want to make sure you get it in the sections that it needs to be in, so that each piece of hair, each little, you know, follicle, as they call it, is going to get touched. So I'm brushing that out, and I'm going to repeat the same step. Now, in this part, here is where I actually put it on the foam rollers. The footage was bad for washing it and so forth, so I put it on the foam rollers and sat it under the dryer. Sat it under the dryer for maybe an hour, hour and a half. I checked it, and this was the finished result, okay? This is what the curls came out looking like. They were juicy and pretty, and the color was just, you see that? That is just everything. And it came out better than I anticipated. I really did want to add some honey blonde to the ends, but it kind of turned that way. So I said, I'm not even going to waste the color. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. But I did wash it, prior to this, I did wash it with the purple shampoo to take the brassiness off. Then I put the foam rods on there. Then I took the rods out, and this is what it ended up looking like, okay? So this is one way that you can revive your wig with no issues. Alright, so this is the finished look and how she looks on. I tried to give you a good view, you know, on the mannequin head, but on the blockhead, should I say. But this is what it looks like on. I like it. I am feeling a little bit of Annie almost, but yeah, I think it's, you know, kind of cute. If you're into curls, if you like curls, I think it's cute here in a sense. And I can't wait for it to get bigger, because if you wear curly hair, or if you know anything about curly hair, it gets bigger over time. So the hair, actually, I got this off of Amazon. It came from a company called Icy Hair. There are tons of reviews. If you've never heard about it, tons of reviews I hear about Icy Hair. This is their Mongolian kinky curly hair. It's not kinky curly like I had anticipated that it would be. When I think of kinky curly, I think of a little more coarse, and this is a little bit more satiny, silky almost. But it is some of the best hair that I've had ever. Like, I have minimum shedding with this hair. I didn't have a problem with putting it on the flexi rods. I've reused it and washed it and conditioned it and done all types of stuff to this hair. This has been old faithful, dusty, reliable for me for quite some time. So I would say to you ladies, especially if you have some decent hair that you don't want to throw away in a wig, don't throw your wig away. Redo it, revive it, bring it back to life. It can happen, okay? It can happen. I thought I had my other wig. I must have put it away. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. So this is actually what the hair looks like you know, you saw the clip before this when I first came on, but this is what the hair actually looks like. This is the other one, the very first one that I ordered, and this has also been chopped up, colored. I mean, look at it. It look a hot show enough mess, but this is really some great hair, and it looks crazy. It's the wonderful thing about curly hair is that it can look a hot mess up under there and nobody would ever know. You don't have to braid your hair down. You don't have to really do too much anything because the hair is so big that you don't know if it's lumpy under there, which is another reason why I'm always wearing curly hair. But anywho, this is what the inside of the cap looks like, and I hand stitched this thing a couple of years ago together. I put 3 full packs in there. You see all them tracks in there? 3 full packs in here, and it was just really big and it was really heavy, and I dyed it black. And you know, with this one I actually did the same thing, but I ended up taking, because it was just so much, I ended up taking some of the tracks out so that it wouldn't just look completely, you know, like fake in a sense. Somebody told me when it's too much hair it looks fake, blah 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 blah. Okay, but whatever. But I did, and she was right about that part. I did take some of it out just so that it would be less dense. Like, just it was a lot. It's a lot. If you look at this, I mean, don't look at the fact that it's jacked up right now, but if you look at this, you can see that it's like, that's a lot going on back there. That's a lot. And whereas this is different, you can't even really tell that it's not mine unless you know me and you know that I wear tons of wigs. So anywho, don't throw your wig away. All right, revive it. What I did with this, and you weren't able to see that inside of the video or the earlier part, but once I washed it out, I washed out the bleach. I went on to, let's see, what did I do? Okay, once I washed out the bleach, I'm sorry, I ain't got my stuff together right now. Once I washed out the bleach, I sat it in some Aussie's conditioner and inside of a sink with warm water, and I may have left it in there for about 10 minutes. I didn't leave it in there very long because this hair is such a great quality hair, you don't really have to do that. And then, of course, you saw it on the Flexi Bras, but I didn't want to like sit and make you, torture you watching the entire thing of me rolling it up. And it took me probably about 30 minutes to roll all the hair up because I did have quite a few in there. But I used a lot of body, coconut shea oils, wrap me foaming mousse. I used this 1 pump on each strand, rolled it up, sat it under the dryer. Normally I would sit it in front of a fan because I don't like, even though it's basically dead hair in a sense, I don't like to put too much heat on any kind of hair and damage it. With that being said, I did that. I took it out after it was fully dry, and I just took 1 curl at a time and just kind of separated them. Once I got all the curls separated, then I took a big white tooth comb and I picked my roots out so that I could have some volume, and it just gave me this real curly Annie looking fro. That's the lovely thing about curly hair. You can actually curl curly hair, if that makes sense. Like, it gives it such a much better it gives it a better, juicier curl. You know what I'm saying? So this hair is already curly, and this is what it looks like when it is curly. This is the curl pattern, okay? And if you want to go on to Amazon to see, or you can also check some other tutorials here on YouTube to see what the icy Mongolian kinky curly hair looks like. And they also have pre-made wigs and so forth. But you know, I have that big head girl thing going on, so because of that, I like to make my wigs. I don't have time to be trying to squeeze into this little cap, you know. And no offense to anyone, but sometimes I think they believe, you know, some wig makers think that you must be completely bald. If you have hair, braided down or not, that's an expansion to the size, the dimensions and measurements of your head. So that size that they give you, that cap size on the inside, medium and small and all that, it doesn't work for this head. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me it doesn't work. And so because of that, I like to make my own wigs, and I like to make them on a ventilated cap so that I can get down up in here if I need to with that metal piece of the rat tail comb that we sisters like to do, you know what I'm saying? Because you know it'll get the itching and carrying on. So I like to do that, and I like to wear this particular cap. This is some of the best hair. I've had it for quite some time. It holds up very well. It colors very well, I must say that. It does not change the texture of the hair or the curl pattern after it's been lifted. And I've lifted this hair twice. I only had it, you know, at small pieces where I had cut. But then this time I put more in there. It was about half of it to get it right. You see what I'm saying? And you'll probably see a little bit more as I come back with it being a little bit bigger in the next few days. But it colors well. It takes to the bleach very, very well. I have to say, I have colored some other hair and it has looked a hot, atrocious mess, and I couldn't get the curls to define the same way. But this is a grade 9A hair, which is really not that high on the scale of all the other types of hair that's out here. I've seen 10, I've seen 12, I've seen 14. This one holds up very good for a 9. I have not had any problems with this. So ladies, don't get rid of your wig. Revive it. This is the Caramel Olive Mama, and I'm out of here.